Sunny ways, my friends. Sunny ways.
Your 16 seconds are up. I'm going to ask you again because nobody believes you when you say you don't know how much money your family has got from the wheat group. You had a month to look into that. You knew you were going to testify here. Again, how much money total have your brother, mother, and spouse received from this organization? How much?
That information has been publicly shared, but I will highlight.
Well, then tell me what it is.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
We have recently switched to drinking water bottles out of water out of when we have water bottles out of plastic. Away from plastic towards paper, like drink box water bottles, sort of things. Sorry?
The servicing costs on the debt that you're going to have to carry, that you're adding to now, right?
Interest rates are at historic lows, Glenn.
Where's the funds?
On the topic, I mean, in terms of your sort of strategy currently, you're obviously taking the populist pathway.
What does that mean? Oh, Justin, you're awake. You made it. Have a seat. Have a coffee. You need some. Wakey time.
Let's cut that Disney Plus subscription. So we cut it. It's only $13.99 a month that we're saving, but every little bit helps.
A lot of people would say that you're simply taking a page out of the Donald Trump book.
Which people would say that?
Well, I'm sure a great many Canadians, but...
Like who?
I don't know who, but...
Well, you're the one who asked the question, so
yeah.
You must know somebody. Yeah, that's all that's coming off. There's nothing else coming off, yeah. I'm not Justin Trudeau here. Let's fucking go!
Let's fucking go.
Knockout!
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Fringe. Welcome to Friday Night Fringe here on the stream. It's great to have you guys here. Joining me, as always, but not always regular, my beautiful wife, Mrs. Fringe.
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
It's good to have you back. Last week was crazy. We had a lot getting done in order to get our house on the market, and a lot of people were mentioning in the chat, hope everything goes smooth. We haven't sold the house yet, so we're still not moving, but we're getting close, and we're going to get into that as the stream starts up. Ladies and gentlemen, get those LFGs in the chat. Get a thumbs up in the stream if you haven't already, and let's do our usual roll call. Let's see if we can get one person from every province in the country into this stream. Let me know where you're watching from. If it's your first time here, make sure to shout that out as well, and we'll try to get to everybody that we can. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start off right away. We got Ingrid coming in with Charlie from Okotoks, Alberta. Welcome into the stream. Great to have you. We got our good old friend of the channel, Derek Macbeth, with the LFG in from Calgary. We've got Brian with the Let's F Go with the good LFG. Welcome in. We've got Danny coming in from Gramina, Alberta. Randy Man gifting 10 unacceptable Fringe memberships in the stream. My goodness, how generous. Thank you so much. That's very generous of you. We got T Rich coming in from the mountains, apparently. We've got Carl coming in Woodstock, New Brunswick. We've got Not Your coming in from Vancouver Island, BC. We've got Don from Welland, Ontario. Good old Master of Snatch joining us once again. He is the master of Snatch, ladies and gentlemen. From good old Ontario, welcome in Snatch. Great to have you here. We got Terry coming in from Invermere, BC. We got Jennifer joining us from Victoria. Linda coming in from Ontario. We got Ash coming in from Moncton, New Brunswick. Carson Sexsmith with the LFG from Porno Viagra, Mexico. It's great to have you guys all here. Thank you for joining us on the stream. Yes, I said Porno Viagra. That's what I call it. It's my little joke. We got Al coming in from Saskatoon. Welcome in for it to see you. We got New Mike. It's Friday from New Brunswick. LFG. Welcome in. Great to have you here. Melissa from Barrie, Ontario. We've got Sheba coming in from Langley, BC. T. Rich was coming in from the mountains of Alberta, not to be confused with the mountains of British Columbia. Welcome into the stream. Great to have you here. We've got Cody coming in from Thorhild, Alberta. Sorry, my bad. NYCC coming in from New Brunswick. Welcome into the stream. Great to have you here. We've got Paul coming in from London, Ontario. Let's go. Welcome into the stream as well. Mike Elliott coming from Warner, Alberta. Welcome into the stream. All of you, great to have you here. We got Melissa from Barrie, Ontario. Watch you every day. I feel sorry for you, but thank you. Welcome into the stream. Nobody wants to watch me every day. I don't even look in the mirror every day, but welcome into the stream. It's great to have you here. Thank you for supporting the content. We got Len coming in from Nor, Ontario. Welcome in. Great to see you.
Brian from Little Potato.
Brian Little Potato, PEI. Welcome in. We got Daphne Divine, fellow YYC gal here. Daphne, welcome in. Great to have you back in here. Welcome back into the stream. As always, we got Trudeau's Akami coming in from Calgary, of course. Welcome in. It's great to have you here. Scotty, who doesn't know, coming in from Winnipeg, my hometown. Good to have you here. Welcome back into the stream. What else do we got here? We got Flip coming in from Bingham, Quebec. We've got a Fight for Freedom coming in from Halifax, Nova Scotia. We've got Brett coming back from Calgary. Welcome back in. It's great to, or he says he's back from Calgary. Welcome into the stream. It's great to have you in here. Harold coming in from Fort Mac. Great to have you in here too. That's a wonderful town. Great to see you in here. Will from Ontario. Welcome into the stream. We got DMAC coming in from Brandon, Manitoba. Let's go, Brandon. Welcome into the stream. Great to have you here. I love tons of family out in Brandon. I love that town. Red from, is that Noinville, New Brunswick? I hope I pronounced that right. We got Rod coming in, Dan, Mission, BC. We got Michelle Kitchener on Terrible. It's not that bad, but hey, welcome into the stream. We got Mike from Ampere, Ontario. Danny coming in from Shelldock, New Brunswick. Welcome in. Daphne Divine, Unacceptable Fringe, you know where I am of. Yes, absolutely. I know, Daphne, you've been here for a long time, but it's great to have you in here. It's great to have everybody in here. Randy Man with another $50 super chat with no message, but hey, thank you. My God, how generous you guys. You guys are, wow. Starting the stream off strong.
Thank you. It's
I'm
me.
always,
I know it's me.
It's because Mrs. Fringe is here. I'm always humbled whenever people do that. Thank you so much. It's certainly never requested, but always appreciated. So thank you for that. Let's get into where we were last week, because last week Mrs. Fringe wasn't on the stream.
Nope.
We were getting the house ready, and a lot of people said, hey, are you going to post your listing when it's online? I said, I don't know if I want to go that far, but hey, let's take a look at just what went on with the house. I know the realtors did a really good job with the photos, but
the house has never been cleaner.
It's never been cleaner with 3 kids in it, and I digress.
It's unreal.
It looks absolutely fantastic. So let's take a look together at the house that Fringe built. Oh, what happened to the screen there? There we go. There we go. We're ready to go. Oh, it keeps flickering on us. Let's so here's our main entryway. Now the realtors, again, I think they did a fantastic job capturing our home. I don't know if they used filters or what they used, but they really made the house look absolutely.
I would buy this house.
I would buy this house too. If you guys are in the Calgary area looking for a home, you should totally come and buy this house because it's so good. We don't want to live here. They absolutely captured the beauty of this house. I thought they did a great job with the photos. Million pictures with the kitchen, our main living room, of course, hanging out in the front hall. And people keep seeing these. In fact, I showed these to Snatch. And he says, the house looks fantastic. Why are you leaving it? Well, we just have a lot of reasons to want small town living, and Calgary's just becoming too much for us. So it was time to go. Of course, the realtors, again, did a fantastic job with all of the photos, with the presentation of our house. Absolutely made it look phenomenal. But the best seller, here's the basement now. As you're watching, isn't this kind of like breaking the fourth wall within a fourth wall? Here is where you're watching the stream from, while also watching where we filmed the stream from, in the basement. So here's a look again in our basement if you've missed my basement tours. However, you'll notice the basement is empty. All of my toy collection is pretty much gone. It has been stripped.
It makes you a little sad. It makes me a little happy because it's like clutter free.
It's clutter free, but there goes everything. There's our spare bedroom, and then we get to our backyard. Now this is the crown jewel of our home. It is definitely where we spend most of our time in the summer. Again, we've got a multi-deck system with our hot tub outside, which
that's what I'm going to miss.
We're going to miss the hot tub?
No, well, yes.
The hot tub?
The backyard.
The backyard. The previous owners were landscapers, and they built this wonderful rock retaining wall with a self I guess a garden that like takes care of itself. We don't have to do anything.
It was great until the dog dug it up.
Until the dog dug it up. Of course, there's outside shots of the house at night with our gemstone lights sitting outside the house. So it's currently sitting on the market, and we've had some interest. We've had an interesting week, to say the least, with the house, and we're just waiting to see what happens. And then we'll probably be moving to Spruce Grove. What, end of September, mid-October?
Hoping, fingers crossed.
Hoping, fingers crossed. If a good enough offer comes along, then yes, we will be moving. We'll be upheaving. Daphne Devine saying, what a great place. It'll sell in no time. I sure hope so. The market, one thing I've noticed is that when you hear how hot the market is in Calgary, we've noticed this week that even it could be because we're coming up to a long weekend, but at the same time, it's not as hot as I once thought it was when you listen to all these reports on television and the radio. And not to say that I spend a lot of time on mainstream television, but you often chat with people who say, hey, I heard a report saying, values were up so much that the market is trending, that it's a seller's market.
You notice the houses around the area are going up really fast too.
There's a lot more houses coming up for sale recently than before, which tells me that people are either starting to get out. They've had enough of Jody Gondek. They've had enough with her shenanigans. Or it's interest rates and the cost of living. People just can't afford it anymore. Or they're like us, where they're fed up with the crime. They're fed up with the water restrictions. They're fed up with the WEF run town, and they're ready to go.
Yeah.
It's, oh, look, we got an offer already. Xylo saying, I'll give you $300 for it. I might actually take that at this point just to get out.
No. We put more than that in
just to get out. It's been an interesting week. Stinger coming in saying your home values have increased there a lot. They have a lot. The problem is that when realtors talk about a price value, when they say this is what we think it's worth, and then what the buying public seems to think it's worth, there's always two different scenarios. There's always
like that with everything.
There's always two different price tags. Now, again, I've always watched that on the market, but this is our first time actually selling a house in a market. We've never actually sold a house
before. Which I think
before.
raises the anxiety just a little bit more.
The tensions definitely are high at times. I'm cool as a cucumber, but Mrs. Fringe is on pins and needles.
Right.
She's all over the place. It's absolutely insane. Talking about Jody Gondek and getting into Calgary, it's been an interesting week. Now, first off, some very sad news in the NHL world if you're a Calgary Flames fan. Former NHL star Johnny Gaudreau, as well as his brother, passing away as a result of being hit by a drunk driver. This news came out late last night, early this morning, and of course, I wanted to make sure to share that on the stream with everybody. Our condolences definitely go out to the Gaudreau family, as well as the Calgary Flames and the NHL for their loss. This was truly the loss of a legend, as well as his brother. His brother was also, Matthew Gaudreau was also a hockey player as well.
Yeah, it was a great loss.
Sad to see them go. Randy Man with another $100 super chat. Thanks for all you do. Thank you for all you're doing, Randy. My God. Again, very humbled. Thank you. Again, the loss of Johnny Gaudreau is very sad because we went to school with
Danny
Heatley. And I know my wife has terrible stories about him in his teen days, but Danny Heatley, of course, was involved in a car accident at a very young age, because you get into the NHL and all of a sudden you've sacrificed your teen years, you've given up everything to be training, and then you get into the NHL and you're just emboldened with all this money.
Yeah.
And you don't really think about consequence. Now, Gaudreau was not involved.
No, him and his brother were riding their bikes.
They were riding their bikes and they were struck by a drunk driver. But with Danny Heatley, he caused an accident and killed his colleague simply because drinking and driving again, and possible Coca-Cola, but alleged Coca-Cola. But again, you get into that lifestyle. Now, good friend of the channel, Theo Fleury, of course, posting his regards for Johnny Gaudreau as well. But talking with Theo about his past experiences with drugs, alcohol, and his addiction, I'm sure
just comes easy.
Everybody knows about the struggles that Theo's had, especially if you read his book, Playing with Fire. You should definitely go read it. It's a great book. I absolutely love it. But you start to understand a little bit and again, I know it doesn't really relate to what happened to Johnny
No.
Gaudreau, but
No.
you definitely understand how drugs and alcohol becomes a big thing in the NHL, and how even if you lose somebody, a hockey player, that it's not necessarily that they were linked to it, it's still something that's relevant in their industry that they see a lot, and it's really a shame. That being said, Mrs. Fringe is going to have to remove herself for a second because, again, live feed with kids. Um, they with Jody Gondek and her water restrictions. Now we've seen this week that water restrictions were again reinforced in Calgary. That Jody Gondek has actually spent the majority of her week on the radio, on government-funded television, scolding Calgarians for not complying with water restrictions. She has simply told people that one day you're going to turn on your taps and there's going to be nothing there, and it's going to be our fault if we don't comply. But also taking a job with the Energy Partners program over in Norway, which again, becoming the vice president of their operations. If you watched the channel earlier in the week, huge conflict of interest. But again, a good friend of the channel, Corey Morgan, had tweeted out today, we do need to conserve water in Calgary. It's not unheard of that, the population is growing and we should at all times conserve what we're using. However, when you have a mayor like Jody Gondek who wants to run against Calgarians, who wants to enforce her woke ideologies on Calgarians at all times, and then punish them by putting forward these mandates, it simply puts citizens at a crossroads where they simply do not wish to comply, even if the facts are there to support her claims that we should be reducing our usage. City Hall has drastically dropped the ball when it comes to or City Hall and City Council have dropped the ball when it comes to the handling of this water main break. Keep in mind, this happened in early June, and we're now into September with no reprieve, and in fact, more restrictions, greater restrictions. I'm very sad to see what Calgarians are going to be paying when it comes to their tax hikes next year as a result of Naheed Nenshit ignoring inspections on purpose and watching this pipe go up in flames, as well as Jody Gondek standing behind there, dropping the ball and going off to Norway to petition for a vice president's job of an energy board to talk about climate emergencies while she can't even handle water in her own city. Let's jump in with the chat. Let's see what people have to say here. What a load of baloney. You guys have had more water main breaks in the last day. No, so what they've located is multiple problem spots within the water main that broke. So they're saying that they're going to go further up the pipe and repair all these potential problems so that we don't have future problems, so that Calgary doesn't see more issues down the road or more summers where they have to restrict water use. Again, I think it's all just a matter of control. I think she just wants her mandates in place to push people back and say,
I mean, she's crying that we're going to lose water. Like, we're literally going to
if you don't listen to me, the sky is falling. And it's just, people have had enough of Gondek. Now, when I reported on this energy, forgive me for not having the name of the energy company or the energy board in front of me, but they are out of Norway. She's been given a vice president's job, and I pulled up salaries for that place, and we found assistant directors getting paid as high as $300,000 a year, while Jody Gondek currently makes roughly, I think it's 300 and something thousand a year as mayor.
Mm-hmm.
How much is she making from this job that is a huge conflict of interest? She's vice president.
Vice president.
So it really makes me question what the hell is going on and how this isn't a conflict of interest. And again, the subject of tonight's stream was how Canada is being broken by Trudeau, how Canada is completely divided, because when you see, and it's not necessarily just Justin Trudeau, but has started this process that when we skim across Canada now, you've got people in Calgary too.
Well, he's pushed it to see how much control he can get. So everybody else is kind of doing the same.
But now you've got people in Calgary who are, I guess, more conservative leaning. Will say, I don't use left or right wing as I don't like using those terms, but you've got people in Calgary who are more conservative leaning that are now supporting that, yes, we should be shutting this down. You guys shouldn't be using water. You guys shouldn't be doing these things. While other people are saying, no, it's all about the WEF. It's all about control. So it's dividing within dividing within dividing. Yeah. And the people who are standing up against Justin Trudeau are essentially starting to break apart and crumble. I want to get into part of that tonight because it's very important, because I want to announce a guest coming onto the stream that I announced earlier this week on Twitter. Premier Danielle Smith will be joining me on the channel here September 13th. The interview will be going live on the 14th here on the channel. We're going to sit down for about 15 to 20 minutes to talk about her claims about growing Alberta. I really had a lot of questions about that. I told her you should come on the show, want to talk about it, want to clarify it. And so Danielle's going to come back on. We had her back on the channel last fall. So it's been almost a year, and she's going to come back on to talk. And I also asked people, let me get some of your questions. I know people wanted me to ask about the new hospital issues with AHS, and I know we're going to get into that, but I want to talk about where we're divided, because mass division has come from Danielle Smith, or against Danielle Smith from her decisions. Let's take a look at what I put on Twitter earlier this week. I said, it's my pleasure to announce that Premier Danielle Smith will be joining me again on the channel in a few weeks to discuss more in depth her plans to grow Alberta's population and clarify her position. What else would you like me to ask her? Looking forward to chatting again, Danielle. Now, keep in mind that when we first posted this, there are those, there's Ilo saying, ask her what shampoo she uses. That's a good one. But
Yes.
what was funny about this tweet was that, I mean, there were some, like CB, who's really good with our community. He's been involved for quite some time, helps me with news stories, saying, ask what's happening with the Alberta pension plan CPP pullout. Freeland needs to give us the money figure and where we are in kicking out of the RCMP that lie, make up BS charges, and destroy equipment on private property in Alberta. We need our own police force. So again, very, very reasonable question, very decent question. But when you go through this, like anytime I used to mention Danielle Smith, people used to say, hey, that's fantastic. Oh, we love Danielle. Danielle all the way. She'll always get my vote. I mean, you got guys like Jack Dan, good friend of the channel. That's awesome. Tell her I said hello and hope she's doing great. But you got people like this Bear guy who come in, ask her why she hasn't acknowledged all the Coof jab injuries, and ask her when all the unjabbed were wrongfully dismissed will be receiving compensation. Do you have the balls to ask her? To which I said, I'd love to ask her questions like that, but when you ask so aggressively, I can't take you seriously. Now he pushed back and said, you don't have the cojones. But why has she and McIver been silent on Calgary's water crisis impacting Calgary, Airdrie, Trestermere, Strathmore, the Tsuut'ina Nation, and Gondek, lobbying against oil and gas and the WEF? So this was the main reason I wanted to talk about the Danielle Smith interview and the division, because a lot of people get things screwed up when it comes to jurisdiction.
Not necessarily screwed up.
They're not knowledgeable on
Yes.
jurisdiction. So we seen just over 2 years ago when Danielle Smith stepped in and brought in police to help assist with Jody Gondak's defunding of the police.
Yes.
Just before the stampede, of course, to make sure that there were people on train platforms, to make sure people were safe, that people weren't continuously getting attacked. Now, of course, Danielle Smith offered those to police to Jody Gondak afterwards, and Jody refused them and said, nope, pack their bags, get out of here. We don't want them. But when it comes to jurisdiction, much like people asking, when's Danielle going to step in and do something about Arthur Pulowski or the Coots 4 or anything like that? She doesn't have the right to do that. She doesn't have the legal presence to do so. And when it comes to Jody Gondak, Danielle Smith can give her opinion on what she thinks about Jody Gondak, or her handling of the water treatment or anything like that. But she can't do anything about it because it's a municipal matter. It's municipal jurisdiction. So essentially, the premier can't come in and tell the mayor what they are going to or what they are not going to do, which is probably part of the reason that Danielle is silent on it, because it's the same reason you've often seen up until recently people like Pierre Poilievre and Justin Trudeau not constantly talking about provinces that have the right to change gender surgeries and things like that, because those are provincial matters. It's not to say Danielle doesn't care, or it's not to say that it doesn't matter, but that it's tough to ask those questions. And it's not because Danielle doesn't want to answer them. It's because you have to understand that there's a rapport when you bring somebody onto a channel to say, we want to ask some questions, we want to have you on, we want to get some answers. But if you start throwing things like that in their face, which they assume you understand their jurisdiction levels, they're not going to give you an answer. They're going to give you word salad because it's not their place to really say. And then they never come back on the channel. They don't want to talk to you again because you threw them a fastball that essentially had nothing to do with them. It made them look bad.
Yeah.
So I sure hope that when it comes time for that interview, people understand that I do look over those tweets. I do look over your comments. I'll be going back and looking at your comments on the stream after that I've been missing while I've been rambling, but that I carefully compiled the right questions, at least what I think is right, before talking with her, to try and get some good answers, to get some answers that I think people want. But she did butt in regards to the whole alphabet crap. So she's allowed to change that because that's a provincial matter. That has to do with Alberta Health. Danielle Smith has provincial jurisdiction to how the province handles health.
But Trudeau does not.
Trudeau
That's
does not.
provincial.
Because so that's why, again, Justin Trudeau can make a stink about it. And we saw him make a stink about it. We saw Pierre Poilievre chime in on it. But again, even in those videos, I've said it doesn't really matter because they have no jurisdiction. They can't do anything about it.
No.
It has so Danielle Smith isn't going to come onto my channel and kick up rocks about Jody Gondek when all it's going to do is either make her look good or bad and have no effect or change. People talking about Spruce Grove.
Yeah, Michelle wants to meet us when we live there.
We'll probably do some meetups. There's a lot of people around Edmonton and the Spruce Grove area that watch this channel. So we'll probably do some kind of a meetup or some kind of hanging out or something.
Build a deck party. That's what
I'm trying to get caught up in the chat here. Mike TV Dub, ask her if she's willing to separate Alberta from Canada if Fancy Socks wins again. I definitely will bring up something again to those lines, but again, so I'm going to run you guys through a bit of the process so that you guys understand how these interviews will go down, because often what happens is people watch the interview and then they go, oh, you didn't ask this or you didn't want to put that on. When I talk to Danielle's people, or even when I talk with Premier Smith myself, it's always a matter of, now her media people book the interview, not Danielle. So like I can ask Danielle, do you want to come on? She'll say, I'll put you in touch with my people. She doesn't have her schedule. She doesn't know where she's going to be. Her assistants tell her, this is who you're talking to today. This is where you're going to be. Her people reach out to me and they say, what is it you want to talk to Danielle about? And they'll review that and say, is that something we should be talking about right now on social media, on TV, on any platform? Is this what we want to focus on right now? And if those questions align with their schedules, I guess their agendas, then they come back and say, okay, Danielle will sit down and talk with you. But the problem is that if I ask anything outside of the things I said I wanted to cover, like Danielle's statement about growing Alberta, like Danielle's statement about AHS and the separation from AHS with the hospitals, then all of a sudden I'm throwing her an unexpected curveball. And while you can essentially get them in a gotcha, it does nothing more than burn that bridge and pushes them back to say, this isn't a trusted space I can come on and talk to somebody. I'm not going to come back on here again. And it kind of ruins the reputation of this channel and myself within other political pundits to say, don't go on that guy's channel. He doesn't stick to the script. He doesn't stick to what he's said he wants to talk about. He tries to get gotchas for clicks or views. It doesn't. Now, that's not to say that we shouldn't be asking those questions. It's just to say that I'll do what I can. And then on other interviews, we try to line up how things can work. So that I can get Danielle on the show to ask those tough questions, to ask the questions you guys want to ask, if that makes sense. Let me get caught up in the chat. Maybe you should have made a meet and greet in your bookyard just before your move. Daphne, we still may do something like that. If I can arrange something like that before we move, believe me, I'll get it done. Because again, if we're moving, I really don't care about the docks. So it's not a big deal. Trudeau's a comment saying, if you don't like Danielle Smith or have thoughts about her, then how would you vote for? Nenshit, who would you vote for? That's been my point all along. If you look at, again, I'm friends with Marty up north. I like Marty. He's a great guy. We've had him and his wife over for a barbecue before. Marty is a nice guy. So Marty, if you're watching this now or later, how you doing? No gripes here. But I've noticed recently, like Marty's bringing up a lot of things about Danielle, calling her out, going to the leadership review in October in Red Deer, really kicking up dirt. Now he has a right to his opinions. I'm not going to say that he's wrong, but I want to go. Let me check my bookmarks here. Let me see if I've got just what Marty has been talking about, because I think I've been. Here it is. Here it is. Let's share this out so I can put some context on this, because I want people to know my heart's in the right place when it comes to Marty. Marty tweeting out, if you feel that strongly that Danielle Smith is doing a great job, then I suggest you buy your AGM ticket before they go up to $400 and make sure you show up to vote on November 2nd. Don't get mad at me for engaging in politics and trying to hold politicians accountable. So he's been talking about Danielle and her recent decisions with AHS. He's been talking about her comments about growing Alberta. Again, assuming she was talking about immigrants when I don't believe she was talking about immigrants. Again, she's going to come on the channel to clarify that. But you've essentially got people who are going out to this event to sandbag it. Let's bring up this tweet from Cian Bexty. Sorry, I keep canceling the screen without thinking about what we actually have to talk about. Let's bring up what Cian Bexty shows here with the AGM meeting. The conservative activist behind the infamous kamikaze campaign, Cam Davies, organized a secret plot to recruit socialists and give them cash reimbursements in exchange for voting against and removing Danielle Smith from office this November when they go to the AGM. Now, I'll be covering that in a video, but it doesn't surprise me. But these are socialists that, again, want people like Naheed Nenshi, and that's often what I ask. Why are these people not held to account? And if you don't want Danielle Smith, like, I'm not backing up any politician. You and I were talking about this the other day. Like, they're still politicians at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And we don't trust politicians. I don't care if we like them, hate them, whatever. You don't fully trust. I don't know Danielle personally. I don't know Danielle outside of YouTube, outside of a handshake and a how you doing. She knows who I am. I know who you are. So therefore, I don't trust her like I trust you. I don't trust her like my father, because she's a politician. But when it comes to the job that they're doing, I always say, and I've said this about Pierre Poilievre, if you guys look at what I've said about Pierre Poilievre in the past, you'll understand what I'm talking about now when you look at the way people are talking about Danielle Smith. There's going to be decisions that are made that we don't always all agree with.
You can't make everybody happy.
You can't make everybody happy all the time. But are we really prepared to kick Danielle out? And what's the alternative? Nenshi? Like,
what? Really screwed up Calgary. There is like no way.
Daphne, I'm not disagreeing. Again, so this is kind of a loaded statement, because I don't want people to think that I'm backing this up. But what I'm saying is that trust is earned.
Mm-hmm.
But what we have to do is be very careful about any politician. Now, I've always said that in any election, we should be voting based on what works for our current way of life, our habits, our communities, what we think we're going to get the best deals out of, what works for our lifestyle. Whenever you vote. Now, that means you could vote for NDP. That means you could vote for Conservatives. You could vote Liberal. You could vote Green. If it works for your lifestyle, vote how you want to vote. But what you have to be careful of is really looking at the big picture, saying, who's the person who's currently doing their job, and are they doing a good enough job? And what is the alternative? It's not a matter of what team am I on. It's what's the alternative versus what they're doing right now? And do we need something new, or do we stick with what we have?
Yeah, you want to look at who's the best candidate.
Who's the best candidate for the job, not just one or two decisions.
No.
And that's why, like, a lot of people, I see it all over Twitter all the time. Danielle hasn't done anything but talk. We don't see any action. Again, I'm not disagreeing with those folks that are anxious, those folks that live in municipalities like Calgary that are fed up with woke politics. But the question is what's the alternative? Somebody tell me what the reasonable alternative is. Let me catch up in the chat on that one. And then she's a venomous toad.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's still people in this city who think that he's great. And
Teams is part of the problem. Teams, categories, labels, ditch them. Stand uniting. Yes, Daphne, absolutely. I'm the alternative? I don't think so. I do not think so. First off, I don't have the funds. We couldn't even get the volunteers together to run in Calgary. I certainly don't have the means to run provincially in Alberta. But Dean coming in saying, just use your resources to form a community and stop voting. What's wrong with you? Well, here's the problem. When you don't vote, this is what essentially happened when the NDP got in the first time in Alberta. A lot of people were fed up with the Conservative dynasty.
Yeah.
You remember that? And there were a lot of people who said, I'm going to vote NDP just to send a message.
Well, I remember your mom talking to you the next day. She's like, what happened?
Yeah, nobody could believe it. Like, people were in shock because Rachel Notley got her majority government. And they weren't even poised to win any seats.
No.
It's the problem. Derek for PM. I don't want that job.
No.
I don't want that. You guys would end up hating me because, again, I'd start doing things where I go, hey, I think I'm making a good choice here. And people would say, boo, you suck.
But then you wouldn't be able to do YouTube anymore.
Sure, I would.
I know you would.
Justin Trudeau has a YouTube. Nobody watches it.
What?
We have more subs than Justin Trudeau, but he doesn't get any views. Nobody watches him.
He just needs to fall down the stairs more. I'd watch that.
How about Jordan B. Peterson? Well, I'm very good friends with Jordan B. Peterson, and I don't have a problem with him being prime minister. But again, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter who's the prime minister. They're going to make choices or decisions that you're not going to agree with.
Yes.
That's my point. And that is what I'm trying to get at here with all the outrage against Danielle Smith, is that when you land somebody like her who genuinely cares in her private life, I'm not talking about politics, in her private life about the well-being of Albertans, she really does have Albertans' best interests at heart. Now, I'm saying that off of personal conversations and my personal opinion outside of YouTube of Danielle Smith from what I have come up with in our conversations.
Yes, and she is really, she knows the separatism that Alberta is having right now and everything. She's understanding.
But when it comes to politics, we do have to hold them to account. And I have said it on videos, folks. Don't worry about calling me out because I'll back it up. I've said it on videos. Even when I like Danielle, I have to call her out when she does things that...
You've done it to Pierre too?
We've done it to Pierre, and I've gotten crapped on for that too.
Yeah.
But it's part of the game. You do have to question them. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but what I'm saying is that it's important to remember when they do something you don't like that, okay, but let's look at everything they've done. Let's look at their whole track record. What's good, what's bad, what's ugly, what should stay, what shouldn't. And then when they're campaigning, those are the things to bring up to their party. I liked this, I didn't like that. What are you going to do to fix this? Instead of just, no, I'm not going to vote, and then a bunch of uneducated 18-year-olds are going to go put, the NDP in power because they want free handouts in university. That's the alternative. That's the problem. I called out Josh Alexander today. You guys know Josh Alexander? You remember Josh Alexander? It's on the same subject, and I'm gonna get into that. It's probably going to get me in a lot of trouble, but you know what? I was thinking about it, and I just did not like his statement. In fact, I think it'll be under a reply here. Here's the tweet about Josh Alexander. Josh comes out. Now, keep in mind, Josh is very young. He's Canadian and American. This was going to be his first election to vote in for the U.S. He says, I can no longer stand before God and justify the decision to vote for Donald Trump. He has gone on an evil tirade against the lives of our most vulnerable. Every Christian in America ought to be outraged, but instead they're worshiping Trump, a media-graven idol. Trump must repent. Now, of course, he's allowed to have his personal opinions, but if you go into his comments, it says, I'm not going to vote at all. I have the right to vote, but I'm not going to vote at all. Which means I said, Josh, who is also American, is technically voting for Kamala. Even not voting is a vote for her. That's effing weak. And that's where I stand. You have a due diligence as a citizen. Once you reach the 18 years old, because
21 in the U.S.
21 is it 21 to vote in the U.S.? I thought it was 18. I'm pretty sure it's 18.
Okay, then.
I think it's 18. If I'm wrong, correct me in the chat there. But if 18-year-olds wanted to vote so bad, once you're 18, you should be educated enough in politics to know what you're voting for, what policies you're voting for, who you're voting for, and why you're voting for them. And voting for somebody because they think they're hot or because they're going to give you free money is not a reason to vote for a politician.
Or they're going to legalize weed because that's what got us here.
That's what got us here. Oh, we're going to get free weed. We're going to get weed, everybody.
Legalize weed, not free weed.
I'm not saying vote for Trump or you're an idiot. What I'm saying here is that if you don't vote at all, you have no right to complain. You have no right to go out there and say, well, it's this and it's that and it's the other thing and I'm mad and I'm going to make a statement by not voting. Yeah, you've made a statement. You gave up your fundamental rights to stay home and bitch. Am I wrong? Somebody tell me if I'm wrong. We all have to hold each other to account. If you really care about somebody, you will. It comes down to the vote. I see so many people that sit in Calgary. I think it's only like, what was it, 28% of Calgarians voted in the last municipal election?
Mm-hmm.
28% of eligible voters. Or somewhere around there. It was a really low turnout.
A lot of it is people are not feel like your vote isn't actually going to matter. Like when I saw those electronic machines, I was really worried, honestly.
Yeah, and I almost got kicked out for mentioning them.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is when it came to the municipal election, nobody voted, and then everybody complained that Gondek got in, and you had people running around. You knew people who said, I voted for her because she's a woman.
Yep.
She's a strong, independent woman. Randy, again. 10 gifted unacceptable Fringe memberships. You guys are getting memberships tonight. Welcome into the Fringe. Randy, thank you. My God.
It's me. I'm your good luck charm.
You obviously are. Maybe we should start a fans only or whatever it's called.
No.
No, we're not. don't get any ideas. It was a joke. It's thank you for your generosity, Randy. That's amazing. Thank you. You look at all the people who come to Canada, all the people who wish they could vote, people who leave dictatorships, people who flee war-riddled countries to come to Canada, and they wish they had the right to vote. And you're giving it up like nothing because you don't like who's running, or you think it makes a statement by staying home and doing nothing.
I mean, if you want to make a statement, go in there and scribble all over it, but at least you're doing something. You're voting. I mean, yes, it's not a vote, but you're still putting it in there.
What you have to do is, and I saw it in the chat a second ago, get educated.
Mm-hmm.
Look at who's running. Look at their policies. Call your local office or stop in there one day. The person running may not be in there, but their representatives will be. And ask them, what are your policies? What are you running on? What are you hoping to do? And what's just a bunch of bullshit that you're not going to follow through on? Get educated. Go to all the parties. You should have a membership to every political party in this country. It's only something like $5 or $10 to join each party. You have a say in the representatives who run for those parties. Everybody wants to complain about the state of the country. And everybody wants to complain about our freedoms being taken away and our rights being taken away. This was my point when I was talking about why I got out of the Calgary race. People want to sit and complain, but nobody wants to do anything when it's time to actually get up and make a very simple gesture of going to your local community hall, your local school, making a vote, volunteering, getting out there and just putting your name on a list, like something. If you're fed up with everything, do something about it. Because as much as I have fun complaining on the internet and talking with you guys and sitting with you on the internet, this doesn't change anything. We're never going to get change. Proud Canadian saying, I don't believe we're allowed to be members of multiple parties. Yes, we are. Yes, Marty up north is a member of the NDP. He went and got an NDP membership so that he could vote for anybody but Naheed Nenshi. And so that he could listen to everybody lose their minds when they had their little meetings. You're allowed to have memberships in multiple parties. Being conscripted and drafted would affect the election fact. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Please do your homework on the economy because these liberals are lying to us all. They're all lying, Tammy. They're all lying. It's I'm gonna leave this up on the screen because I'm gonna get to this. But look, it doesn't matter who's in charge. There's again, it's hands in pockets. There's money being transferred. There's things going on in the background. There's always going to be some form of shenanigans when it comes to the government. But when they come door knocking, when you go to their constituency offices, leave your name. Go there a couple times. Make sure they know who you are. So that when they screw up and you go in there, you say, this isn't what you told me you were going to do. So if you want to keep your job or get your pension, what are you going to do to fix this? And if they don't want to answer you, if they don't want to send you emails, if they don't want to answer your calls or get back to you, harass them, and not harass, but get in their face until they do. Don't let up.
They're supposed to answer to the people.
Their job is to answer to everybody.
Yeah.
What triggered Alexander to go against Trump? Apparently, it had something to do with women's rights with birth. I don't know the whole story on it because I don't chime into those things. And as soon as I hear people talking about it, I break out. I just go, I'm not getting involved in that because I'm not a woman. I don't want to have any part in those choices. And that's coming from somebody who's adopted. So
and has adopted child as well.
And has a child who was adopted.
Put up for adoption.
Put up for adoption. My wife forced me to do things I didn't want to do in high school.
You slipped.
When we were dating. And that was really something I didn't know if I wanted to put out on the
internet. I don't
internet,
think so. You didn't have to.
But as an adopted child, I don't weigh in on that subject. I don't weigh in on that subject. Everybody's entitled to their opinions on that subject. I just don't weigh in because I'm not a woman. The point of all of this, the point of bringing it in, the point of the title of this stream is that Justin Trudeau, throughout the pandemic, throughout his scandals, throughout everything, has separated Canada essentially east and west.
Yep.
On a comparable scale, where you have some people in Manitoba and then Saskatchewan, Alberta, and some British Columbians all saying, yeah, to hell with Trudeau. And people on the right side of the country over on the east are starting to get into that boat. You see it in Ontario. You're seeing it in Quebec. You're seeing it, into the Maritimes. But it's definitely stronger west than it is east. And I don't think that's an unfair comparison. But he's divided everybody so much that you see the truckers' convoy. You see all these things that happen throughout the pandemic that people are breaking off into little groups, the old divide and conquer. His plans for splitting everybody apart, breaking everybody apart worked. By dividing everybody, he only has to focus on small groups of people to get the votes that he wants. And I put out a video earlier this week talking about how Justin Trudeau was saying that if the NDP are strong in one riding, they're not going to run a Liberal in that province or in that jurisdiction because they're all going to form their larger coalition that way. They're going to put a Liberal somewhere else where the NDP maybe aren't performing, et cetera, et cetera. But you're now seeing that when it comes to the Western side of things with Danielle Smith. You're seeing that when it comes to Scott Moe, that there's groups. And don't forget that when it comes to the guy who was paying people to go to Danielle Smith's review and vote her out on purpose for cash, these are people that have special vested interests in ensuring that people like Danielle Smith or Scott Moe lose their seat. So they continue to divide within. And that's why I say, like, Marty has every right to have his opinion, but by getting people so angry online, you're just adding to that division. You're adding to those numbers of people who supported Danielle Smith over one decision, maybe multiple. I'd have to look at Marty's timeline, but maybe multiple. That's where I'm saying you have the right to your opinion, but we also have to be careful about, are we sowing division within our own ranks so that those who stand against us have greater numbers? And I think it's important we look at it from a strategic standpoint because the Prime Minister does. Right? Justin Trudeau knows how to break everybody up so he stays in power. Yep. That's how he's been around for 10 years.
Yeah. Well, he's buying his vote with these equalization payments too, right?
If we split enough Albertans up to the point where little tiny issues divide us, and somebody like Naheed Nenshi gets in and Danielle's gone, what do you think Naheed Nenshi's going to do to Alberta? You think he's going to make good decisions? Do you think you're not going to be locked in your homes again? You think you're going to pay low taxes? Think life's going to be sunny ways? I mean, Cher's saying they're all sellouts. They are all sellouts. But which
no,
one?
we're not on Danielle's payroll, but that would
And
be
no,
nice.
so did somebody say that?
Yes, one above.
Where is it? Where is it?
Right there.
Canada RV, are you on Danielle's payroll? No. And I love it when people say that. Listen, Danielle, if you're watching this, I know Danielle watches the channel. Danielle, send me a check, please, because I'm losing views by defending you. I wish I was on Danielle's payroll.
We need more people in power that think about the people instead of their pockets.
Listen, if I was on Danielle's payroll, I'd say something. You'd know it. You would know.
You'd wear the hats. You'd have all the merch.
I might not be allowed to say it because of an NDA, but there would be signs if I was on Danielle's payroll. If I was on anybody's payroll. In fact, people accuse the pleb of being on Pierre's payroll. People said the same to me and went, "Oh, you must be paid by Pierre." Nope. I really wish I was because they got a lot of money. No. This was the same thing when I got flagged for money laundering.
Which is insane.
When they ran the check on our house. If you guys missed that, they do what's called an AML check in Canada, anti-money laundering check. When my realtor showed up last weekend to do our walkthrough photos, he said, I've never had this happen in the 20 years that I've been a realtor. He says, but your name came up for possible warning of money laundering, and it's a government-run website. And I said, well, no wonder that happened because, well, he says it must be because of your stance with the government and what you do online. I mean,
if you were laundering money, I really want to know where it's going.
Me too. That's what I said. I said we all had a laugh.
So much better.
We all had a laugh, and I said, if I'm laundering money, we wouldn't even be selling this house. We'd be renting it out and buying three more.
Buy another one.
Just buy another house. We're laundering money. That's how it works, right? I said to him, I'm not Vladimir Zelensky. I'm not laundering money.
Good Lord.
Come on. That's where I'm saying, I love it. People accuse Kean Bexty of that all the time when he defends Danielle. You're on Danielle's payroll. No, he's not. There is no payroll. There is none. At least none that I'm aware of. Snatch says gold coins. Maybe buy some gold coins. I'm just saying, if I was on anybody's payroll, there would be signs. I'd be sitting here in that mink jacket like Ken has in the Barbie movie.
Which you're dying to get.
Talking about horses and the patriarchy. I would totally rock that. I'd have a gold Scarface chalice that I'd be drinking out of. You guys would be like, gold "Hey Derek,
chains.
What's happening in politics?" I'd be like, "It doesn't matter what happened in politics. I'm just sitting here watching the camera to be here for you guys because I don't need views no more. I'm getting bank." Oh yeah, it was a good question, RV. I'm not mad at the question or anything. Please don't think I'm going hard on you. I always think it's funny. I know it was a laughable question, but there are people who ask that seriously, and it's like, oh come on, we're Snatch. Derek does have a gold pimp cup. I do. It's not real gold though. It's plated. It's not.
It was probably $12.
It was a Spencer's Gifts gold cup. Oh, what is it here? Trudeau just put Derek and Tiffany in the crap list. Yes, well, that's our thought process. I mean, look, I tried to look into it this week. I called multiple offices. There really isn't.
I'm not labeled. You're labeled.
It's not you, it's me, which again makes us believe this is government run, that it's because of the YouTube, the books, humiliating Trudeau. I mean, what else would it be? But I tried contacting the office where this came from. I've tried all these different extensions.
Nobody wants to talk to you.
Nobody really knows where we go to get this cleared up. But the realtor also said, just leave it. If it doesn't do anything that affects us, then who cares? It's just a warning. It's nothing that really stops the process. But it's just funny to me that, people bank accounts get frozen during the Freedom Convoy, and then we go and put out a book that makes fun of Trudeau, and then suddenly we're laundering money. That's we're on the naughty list. What was it somebody said? It's no social credit score for us.
Yeah.
We lost our social credit points. Thank you for the stream. Gotta go. Stay true to yourself and keep trying to make the change. Thank you so much. Appreciate you from coming in. Have a great night. Fight for Freedom. I bought 2 of your books. Love them. You should buy all of them. They're all really good.
What was it? My uncle. He said he bought all your books and
for his girlfriend.
Yeah, but 4?
Yes.
You're like, no, there's way more than that.
There's way more than that. We met with my wife's family last weekend for an engagement, and I guess her uncle's girlfriend has been watching this channel for quite some time and didn't even know that we were related to Tiffany's uncle, and heard all about us coming up there, and it was quite the conversation when we walked in the door. It was really cool to meet somebody outside of the house that knew who I was, that was dating a family member.
Yeah.
Because then suddenly I
Small
don't look like such a jerk amongst everybody.
Like, oh, it's him again.
It's that asshole came back. He's gonna talk about politics all night. That's all he's gonna do. It's so exhausting. Steve saying the humor's awesome. Keep it up. Absolutely. That's what got me into this business. That's the whole thing. People always ask, oh, you must have had some agenda out against Trudeau to write how the prime minister stole freedom. No, I just wanted people to laugh at a time when things were in the crapper. That was the whole point, is that when things are down, if you can find something to laugh at.
Like, we know how it was hard to smile here during that time. You're watching TV and everything is so depressing and so sad. It was nice just to have that little bit of a break, wasn't it?
A little, not only that, but like even when the Freedom Convoy was going, like we were glued.
Oh,
glued to the TV, live stream after live stream after. It was running in this house 24/7.
Yeah.
Like I'd fall asleep with the TV on because Live at the Shed would have their camera going, showing Wellington as it was snowing outside, and there was nobody even out there. But I'd just fall asleep with the TV on, and then by the morning time, it was time to watch like Zot or Ottawa.
You just kept switching and
Ottawa Scotty, any of those guys. Like it was always somebody. I think Smear Campaign was walking around from time to time, but I didn't really watch too much of him. What was the hot tub guy that was always walking around? There was some guy who had, his name was like Hot Tub something.
Big M, one another laugh.
Vikram Singh saying it was glued. Yes, it was amazing.
It was.
Love the convoy. Yes. There was Proud Canadian saying I watched and listened to the truck honks for 6 hours of time. It was epic. Melanie, thanks to both of you who are always sharing good information. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Travel Fund 69. Yes, there was another guy. There was a guy who did Canada RV was there. Yes. I remember Canada RV was there. Yep. There was a guy that was like Jay's Tubs or something like that, or because he had an issue when he bought our books on Amazon. His orders were getting canceled.
Right.
And I forget the guy's name now, but it was Travel Fund 69. Yeah, I remember him. Daphne, who won the shirt this month? I'd have to look it up. We did send one out. I did contact the winner. I'd have to. It wasn't this month. We didn't do one this month. We did it late July. And I didn't do it on stream. We just did a random draw where I contacted the winner. I didn't want to put it out on stream. But we did send one out. I will get that out. Daphne, did you draw for the shirt already? Yes, I did. Yeah, we'll post it. I'll get it posted. I will look that up. That's my bad. I just, what the problem is that some people don't want their names put on blast, so I didn't want to do it that way. I know when we did book draws, like some people were like, "Oh, I wished you hadn't announced my name." So I just thought that way I'd do it a little discreetly, but I'll reach out to them and see if they don't mind if we put out that they want a shirt. Ernie Racing. Yeah, Ernie Racing did streams. I don't believe he was at the Convoy. But Ernie Racing was out of BC, I think it is. He was in the RV when the police were telling him to move. You remember that video?
Yeah.
And they kept telling him to move, and he said, I got no reason to move. And it was this whole debacle. Somebody said, I didn't know, D-Max saying, I didn't know you win shirts. Yes, members do win. So I was supposed to be doing it once a month, where we order the embroidered Unacceptable Fringe sweaters for somebody, so that it's kind of like an exclusive thing that if you're a member, you can get those.
These are the new ones.
These are the new ones that were very expensive. We couldn't get a store running because they're way too costly. So it was kind of like an exclusive thing that you could get them by being a member. The only reason we haven't ordered them yet, and maybe we'll do draws for them still and just put people on the back order list, is because of the move. Again, I have to order those hoodies in the size that you need them for and have them shipped to me and then shipped to you when we draw them, but because we could essentially be moving in the next couple of weeks, I just don't want to draw somebody's name and then have something show up here and then the mail doesn't forward or we have issues. But we will be doing the draws again. So please hang in there with me, folks. We'll do some back draws to make up for any times we haven't done those draws. But yes, members do get that exclusivity that your names are automatically entered. Even if you've been gifted memberships, your names are in the draw. And as long as you're a member at the time of draw, then that's one way to get your hands on those hoodies. They will not be for sale.
You should have them send pictures of themselves or even in their sweaters.
If they want to, we'll start a club like that. We'll do something like that. It'll be fun. Legendary live streams with Saba and Moore gets arrested and thrown out of Ottawa. I missed that one. Melissa saying we should ask Sophie how to get rid of Justin. Pretty simple. Just have a bunch of guys hanging around in G-strings. I think it's tampons. Get a tampon truck to drive by.
Well, he likes those things though.
Yeah, he'd just run away. It's have a pride festival in Abu Dhabi and send Justin Trudeau there and then fly his plane back while he's off the tarmac.
Yes.
That's how we get rid of him. That's
make him fly coach.
Wouldn't it be funny to see Justin Trudeau flying coach?
It would, actually. I bet you he's never in his entire life.
I remember when I was on my way to Ottawa and Pierre Poilievre was sitting in coach on my flight out of Calgary. And I remember saying to him, I didn't know you fly coach. And he says, yeah. And we were supposed to be meeting in the House of Commons. And he says, well, we'll see you in a couple of days. And that's when I was arranging with Melissa Landsman.
Yeah.
But he flew coach. Pierre flew coach. I think he still flies coach when he goes places. He doesn't fly first class. He doesn't take any kind of kickbacks. Although once he is prime minister, he does have to fly on the prime minister's plane because it's required.
But he won't be going to,
You don't think he'll be going to Jamaica for $60,000 resort vacations?
Or just flying over somewhere just to get a Starbucks coffee somewhere.
Oh, maybe.
New York pizza, deep dish in Chicago. Like, he won't be doing stupid things like that. He'll be accountable.
I was watching the stream when he got arrested. That's when I lost all faith. So I saw the stream when Zot got arrested because he was really coaxing the RCMP when the boundaries were put in place for the no-go zones. I watched Tamara get arrested, of course. I heard about Chris Barber. I saw Pat King get arrested on stream when he was driving by the depot where they had all the buses to bring in the RCMP officers. No, Daphne, we're not only doing one draw. So let me be I'll clarify again. We haven't done any more simply because the house is on the market. And right now the conditions for our house in Spruce Grove is they would like us to be there by September 30th. So we're really pushing to have that done. If I order these hoodies, they haven't been ordered yet. So they get ordered at the time that we do the draws. If we were to move and those hoodies were to show up and the mail doesn't forward them to our new address, I would lose those. And I'm telling you right now, they're very costly. They're over $100 a sweater. So I just don't want to order any until we're at our new address and I can guarantee the shipping.
And we'll do a couple of draws.
We'll do a couple of back-to-back draws to make up for any months that we haven't done draws. So just bear with us, folks. We will be doing the draws in the future. We're just waiting again for a solid address, and then we don't lose any inventory that way. Two Flip says, why did Freeland cry when she realized Europe was going far right? She's insane. Well, she is insane, but she also probably smells like cat piss.
I don't know why you can't get over that.
Every time I bring up Chrystia Freeland, I tell my wife, cat piss. It's got to be cat piss. You just look at her and I just assume when I look at her, I bet she smells like cat piss.
Well, I mean, yesterday the cat peed on you because you freaked her out. But he gets in the car and he's like, God, I smell like Chrystia Freeland.
Well, that was, so we had to put the cat in the car while somebody was looking at our house because you can't have animals in the house while they're doing a house showing. So we grabbed the dog and the cat and got them in the car, and the cat was nervous coming out of the house. She thought I was going to put her in a crate. So she pissed all over me, and I said, I smell like Chrystia Freeland. Tiffany couldn't stop laughing in the car. She's like, what? And I said, I'm willing to bet she smells like cat piss. But anyway, Chrystia Freeland, I mean, we all know her ties to, the guys who, have their salutes. The bad guys from WW2. Is that the good way to put it these days? I don't know how we say it otherwise, but cat piss. Definite cat piss. That's Daphne Devine with a $10 super chat.
Ooh.
Did you hear what happened to Marcel Ernie last night? He got jumped by 4 people at Kelowna's Tent City late last night. Did a live stream for it. Please stop by and wish him the best.
Wow.
I will do that. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I had no idea. I haven't seen Marcel Ernie in a while. I haven't caught any of his streams. I honestly, ever since his issue with the RCMP in Vancouver, I think it was, or maybe it was in Kelowna. I haven't caught any of his stuff. I hope he's okay. Two Flips asking, is he okay?
Yeah.
Hopefully he's okay. Again, our wishes go out to him. I hope he's all right. We'll try to get some kind of update on that, but I'll definitely stop over and wish him well. That is definitely too bad.
Better to be pissed on than pissed off. I'd rather be pissed off.
She does look like she's smelly despite the $6,000 in self-care. She spends.
I don't know where she's putting that money.
I'd like to know what spa she goes to that has jarred cat piss for her.
I would look damn amazing if I had $6,000 a month to spend on beauty.
I will go on the record to say that I believe Chrystia Freeland has golden showers with cat piss at spas. I do believe that is what happens.
Gross.
Yuck. It's crazy. Rebel News is looking to hire a reporter in Calgary, says Ace. I mean, doesn't Adam Sos cover Calgary? I know they have a few people. Maybe they're looking to expand. I know Adam Sos personally. I think he's a great guy. He's absolutely fantastic. Hopefully he's still sticking around. Do we have any other people with questions in the chat? Let's field some questions. We got to do some back and forth. I always say in the videos we do back and forth with the community. And
facial scrub.
I want to make sure we get your guys' questions in on the stream. Brian saying it's getting bad. Hope Marcel Ernie is okay. I hope so too. I really hope so. They changed her medications. Too much twitching during the convoy. Will Jagmeet Singh give us an early election? Do you think? No, I don't think so. I think that he's just going to ride it out. He's not going to take Pierre's words at heart. He doesn't care. Trudeau's a commie becoming a new member. Trudeau, thank you so much for that.
Yeah. Listening to PP doesn't fill his pocket.
Master Snatch chiming in. I'm willing to bet good money if she didn't shower in cat piss, Freeland would smell like pee anyways. You know? Hey, well, she lives in Toronto. No offense to anybody who lives in Toronto, but there's people peeing in the streets out there. She probably just gets a shower on her way to work.
They pooping on beaches?
No, that's in Wasaga.
That's
in Ontario, but that's in Wasaga where they're pooping on the beaches. They poop on the beaches where your mom's out in Sylvan Lake.
No.
Oh yeah, they're pooping everywhere. That's why they put their tents on the edge of the concrete line there.
They can't do that anymore.
Oh, they can't use tents anymore. They got rid of 4-walled tents on Sylvan Lake. It's
She loves water sports.
She loves water sports.
We're never going to get off this now.
It's always going to be, you know what? I'm going to make a meme. I'm going to have like a GIF. I'll have a GIF.
You need to have it in your opening video.
We'll have a GIF of Chrystia Freeland getting pissed on by cats. It'll be great. Did Miss Fringe transfer in her job? No, Miss Fringe is going to be looking for a new job.
No, so if anybody's hiring in the Edmonton area,
maybe we'll ask Danielle. Maybe I'll just say, "Hey Danielle, we're on your payroll. We're on your payroll, Danielle. Can you hook us up with a job too? That'll be great." No, she's going to look for something new. New experiences for all of us. It's just kind of a fresh start. We wanted to I love when people say, because I had it today when somebody said to me, somebody had been talking about Palestine and the protests that are going on in Calgary. And they said, to Jody Gondek, that you stopped us from protesting about Palestine. And I replied and said, listen, if you want to protest Palestine, go get on a plane and go there and do so. This is Canada. We don't want it here anymore.
Oh, and then
now they came back and said, what was it? I want to make sure I quote it properly. Let's make sure I quote it properly. I sent Snatch part of that reply earlier. Oh no, I muted it. That's why I muted the guy. He said something about Calgary. Calgary is going to be brown forever. If you don't like it, leave. Canada is going to be brown. Something along those lines. I'm Mr. Meeseeks. Look at me with the 99-cent super sticker. Thank you so much, Mr. Meeseeks. But yeah, he essentially told me that Canada, we're losing Canada to brown people, and that it's all or nothing, and that if I don't like it, I should leave. And then he said, "Enjoy Edmonton. We're going to be so happy to see you leave Calgary." Well, to that I say, I'm not moving to Edmonton.
Yeah, Canada is brown. You better like it or something like that.
Yeah, is Calgary's going brown or Canada's turning brown? Like it or leave it. It was something along those lines.
Unreal.
But I was just flabbergasted. And he says, enjoy Edmonton. It's like, well, I'm not moving to Edmonton because no offense to anybody who lives in Edmonton. It's not my cup of tea. There's just as much crime there as there is in Calgary. And people say, well, Spruce Grove is a bedroom community of Edmonton. You're going to see just as much crime there. I'm going to tell you right now, I've looked up the crime statistics of Spruce Grove. And while there is crime, it seems to be mostly like, don't leave your car doors unlocked or petty things, not
walking down the street and seeing people shoot up
or smoking crack or, doing meth. It's very different. At least we drove around the town for an entire weekend.
Yeah.
And we walked about, we went out at night. We didn't see anything out of the ordinary, very quiet. Definitely our way of life. It's what we wanted. And that's mostly why we just said, like, there was nothing that really drove us there. In fact, when we went to your family event last weekend and told everybody
why
our house was on the market because nobody knew we were doing this, everybody said, what? Why are you going to Spruce Grove?
I didn't know that.
We just kind of said, they said, is it a job? And we said, nope, no job. And they said, oh, well, what is it then? We just said, we want to change a pace. We just want something different in our lives. Randy with another $50 super chat. Grab yourselves a couple Starbucks vanilla bean
cream frappuccino.
Thank you so much, Randy. I appreciate that. And then Trudeau's Economy gifting 5 memberships. My God, you guys are coming out in droves tonight. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm always so speechless. I know I've said that before tonight on the stream, but I really don't know what to say aside from thank you when people do this.
You have a good community.
We have an amazing community. I've said it before, even when there's no super chats, we have the best community on YouTube. And you guys just support so well, and I really appreciate it. Who is Randy? It's not the Randy you think it is. I can tell you that. It's not. And so now people are going to think I'm on Randy Boissonnault's payroll. They're going to think it's the other Randy who's in here giving me all that money. It's not the other Randy. Oh, Randy, it's not. Please tell us that's not you. You're not the other Randy. It's Tammy talking about Johnny Goudreau. Yes, we mentioned Johnny at the beginning of the stream. Again, very sad.
Hearts out to his family, really.
It's very, very, very sad, especially being in Calgary. I hate to see it any time with anybody, not just NHL stars. It's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Randy man. He says you're welcome. I actually work.
Two Flip saying I do believe Canada will be a valiant state of China. Here's the problem. I'm very openly optimistic, we'll say, when it comes to government, despite Trudeau and despite me saying I don't trust politicians, I'm openly optimistic that things have to change. They have to, because I don't want them to get any worse. I don't think they can get any worse. Do you?
I really hope not. I really hope not.
It's just, I don't like what politicians do when it comes to the scamming of money, the scandals, the BS, the politics. But I have to hope in my heart of hearts that somebody comes into an office that cares about their constituents, their country, their province, their city, that they have their best interests at heart to say, we're going to make the best decisions we can.
Well, there has to come a point where we start working for ourselves and not for the government. And
that's the big thing, is that I think as time goes on, what we have to show government, and what's important to show to government, is that it's not a matter of not being compliant, but that we're not going to listen to nonsense anymore, and that we're just going to carry on when they want to drop the ball, that we're not going to fall in line like sheep. I'm still very blown away by how many people in Calgary listen to Jody Gondek.
Well, you flipped off the neighbor the other day.
Well, yeah. So the other day, yesterday, much like the last time, I'm surprised we didn't get snitched on again. But like the last time, so the water restrictions came back into place 4 days ago. we're showing the house yesterday afternoon, and the realtor's on his way over with clients, and the dog decides he's going to go take a dump on our back deck. So of course, can't have that there. We scoop it off, and I just didn't want to wash it off by hand because that's gross. So I grabbed the hose, sprayed it off the deck really quick, and the neighbors outside go, "You're not supposed to be using water."
The whole time he's
The whole time I'm spraying, and I sprayed extra to make sure that she had to yell significantly over and over and over again. And finally, when I turn off the hose, she goes, "Excuse me, you're not supposed to be using the water." And I just kind of gave her the old BC hello, gave her the middle finger, and just put my hose away and left. And I said, if the cops come, they come. What was I supposed to do? We're showing the house. It has to be in peak condition for people to come look at it. Nobody wants to buy a house with dog crap stained all over a deck, a vinyl deck. Like, no, it's not happening. So it shocks me just how many people still just fall in line whenever the government says, we just want a little more power. We're just going to do this one time. Trust us. We have your best interests.
We've had no water all summer. Oh, we had 2 weeks.
2 weeks of water.
But no water all summer. And it's been a hot summer.
Our grass is dead.
Oh, every grass is dead.
Like it's so funny because when the realtors came by and they looked at our front garden, they said, we're going to need you to clean this up as best you can so that it looks visually pleasing. And I said, well, I can't water it. What am I supposed to do? So we ended up digging a bunch up and we filled it with that red cedar chips to make it look a little more presentable. And they were actually shocked. They said that was a good idea because the biggest thing that got them was, how are you going to water the lawn?
Yeah.
There's weeds everywhere from crabgrass. Now, of course, I just took out the hedge trimmer and just slapped all those weeds away so you couldn't see them anymore. But you can't water the grass.
Yeah.
So like, what are you supposed to do when you're trying to sell your home and you say like, hey, look, it's a nice yard. Is it a nice yard? Because it looks like
Is it though?
Is it? Is it? It's one of those things where Terry Lee saying, shame on you. You should have used 5-gallon pails to wash it off instead. No, I really don't care. Like, look, I'm not going to go refill my hot tub, but if I need to use the hose, I'm going to use it. I don't care. Like, you can't tell me. This is again where it's the hypocrisy that we saw during the coup, where it's, you can go to Walmart and be elbow to elbow with people, but you can't go to a movie theater where they could have essentially spread people out across a theater.
Or church.
Where you could have had people sitting 2 by 2s.
But yet you can still go on a C train.
And you can go on a C train, which is the train in Calgary. Or you can go to
transit period.
Costco or Walmart. You can be elbow to elbow with people, but you can't go to a restaurant where again they could spread people out if that was what they were really concerned about. It's the same thing with the water restrictions. You can do your laundry, you can do your dishes.
I think the biggest laugh was when you could go to a restaurant. You had to wear a mask unless you were sitting at your table with food.
And show proof of the jab. And you could only remove your mask when chewing, when eating, when putting it in your mouth. And then, so you take your mask off, put it in your mouth, and then put it back on to chew. Mike becoming a new member of the channel. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Fringe. You can't use a hose unless you're at a car wash. Well, even that. Car washes are still open while these water restrictions are on. So again, I can run a shower. I can do my laundry. I can do my dishes.
We're not supposed to.
We're supposed to restrict how much we're doing it. But it's like, if I can do all those things, then it doesn't hurt me to turn on my hose for 30 seconds to spray off some dog crap.
So if we were to follow the rules and use like paper plates or something like that, then we're enlarging our garbage. Are they going to pick up every week?
Well, that's the other problem. So in Calgary, they only pick up the trash every 2 weeks. So because they're in a climate emergency, they don't want to fill the landfills too much. So that would be a good question. Now, the problem when it comes to water is we're still being charged for water.
Oh, yeah.
Amongst all of this. And I even seen somebody putting it on Twitter today. In fact, I think it was Daphne Devine, or it might have been somebody else that I follow on Twitter that's in Calgary, that says, if Jody Gondak had the sense to stop charging me for water, I might be more complicit to comply. But you're still billing me top dollar for water that I'm not using. So where do we go from there? I am a pro at scrubbing the poo deck. I got 3 kids, man. 3 kids and a dog. And my dog's a shithead.
Oh, yes.
He's the worst. He's the worst.
He knows how to push your buttons.
He's half Basset Hound, but then he's half Blue Heeler. So he's an energetic, stubby,
Asshole, really.
fat ass. And he is fat because we have 3 children that he just mooches off of and eats everything.
He knows which one he can get the food from.
It's terrible. It's terrible. I took him to get his nails clipped while we were waiting for the house to be looked at yesterday. And he's the only dog to escape their harnesses on their tables, they said. Because he's so energetic and crafty, he just slides right through. He gets out like nothing.
Very clever.
My dog is a jerk. I know Daphne's offered to train him before because she's in that field. And I said, it's cool, but honestly, I'm just going to leave him somewhere and go.
No, you're not. You keep threatening that.
I keep threatening it. No, we love the dog. We're not going to do it.
He's like 90 pounds and thinks he's a lap dog.
We should have. So the dog's name's Bowser. I don't know why we would have named him that, but my daughter, what did she want? Cake. She wanted to name him Cake because she was like 4 when we got him, and I said, I'll even do it in my Peter Griffin voice. I was like, God, I'm not going to walk him around like a fat guy talking in the park going, come here, Cake. It's everybody would say, look at that fat guy walking the dog calling him Cake. I'm not doing that. So, but we should have done, if you guys have ever seen Steve Martin's 1979 classic, The Jerk, we should have named him Shithead.
We should have.
Because it totally would have worked. It is the most suitable name for him.
So cute.
He was cute, but he turned into a larger dog.
Basset face.
Who now sleeps on my side of the bed and kicks me out.
He loves you.
Because he's an asshole. That's Melissa said we got a Pancake. I know a lot of people that name their dog or cat Pancakes.
Actually, yeah, we know someone who named their cat Pancake.
Daphne, in your house? I was going to say I have a sidekick. Oh, what's going on? Is Daphne fighting with somebody? Because Tammy said I have 5 dogs. I have a 6-month-old Labradoodle puppy. She's super smart. Boundless energy. The energy is what gets me with my dog.
Yeah.
I mean, I love my dog, but he's just a jerk. And he knows...
Oh, he's very clever.
He knows that he's doing the wrong things, like when he's stealing from the kids or when he's getting into the trash or when he takes something he's not supposed to take. Because you come upstairs and because he's Basset, he's really good at doing what I call sad dog. Like he'll look at you with those droopy ears and the eyes.
I think the best was that Christmas where he ate 2 dozen of my cookies.
Yeah. And you just said, did you touch these? And he hangs his head and walks away. He knows what he's done. And he knows he's going to get in shit for it, but he does it anyway. That's where it's like, we know you're not dumb. Like it's not a training thing. It's a stubbornness thing. But we still love our dog. We still, I call him an ass, but I still love him.
Yeah, you do.
Sometimes.
He's your lap dog.
He is a bit of a
90-pound lap dog.
He is. He's more than 90 pounds.
Oh,
he's a medium-sized dog and he's more than 90 pounds.
Well, I think the best is he's got this long body, this long healer body, and these short Basset legs.
Yeah.
He's funny looking.
He's funny. He's like a midget dog. It's crazy. It's crazy. Tammy's saying my dog gets 30-minute walks a day and we play ball for an hour every day. God, I wish I had that kind of energy. Although we did discover that dog off leash area up by Mahogany.
Yeah.
I think it's closer to Mahogany, but it's near between Auburn Bay and Mahogany. We took our dog there last weekend in Calgary and let him run around while.
But I think the boys had more fun than the dog.
It was great because there's all these dogs just running around and it's fenced off and they can have a good time. And I think I'll start taking the dog.
I hope we have one in Spruce Grove because that would be good.
It would be good. I've never really taken the dog to off leash areas because where we're at in Calgary, there really isn't anything like that close to us.
Well, and he's so hyper that we weren't really sure how he would interact because he jumps on people.
He jumps on he loves people.
But he gave he didn't care about the other dogs.
But he's brown and white and he sheds like crazy. So every time we've had a car, I don't want to take him with me because the car is white by the end of it. But now that we have a leather interior car, it's a lot easier to take him because we just vacuum it out and it's gone. So we'll probably take him to that park a little more often before we move anyways.
I think Steve liked it the most, honestly. He ran more than the dog did.
But now we're rambling on rambling and we're running this stream out. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap it up on that note because now we're talking about dogs instead of politics. But hey, thank you to everybody who came into the stream tonight. Thank you to everybody tonight for the super chat, super stickers, Randy Man, all his generosity tonight. Thank you so much. Daphne Divine, thank you for becoming a new member, and thank you for your super chat. Trudeau Zakami, thank you for becoming a member and gifting 5 subs tonight. Mr. Meeseeks, look at me. Thank you for the 99-cent super sticker as well. And Mike, thank you for becoming a member as well. Thank you to everybody who just came in the chat, who gave a thumbs up. It doesn't cost you anything to do that. And again, it puts it back out there for people to watch this stream when it's done. So if you haven't left a thumbs up yet, make sure to do that. I do have more content coming out for you guys this week and this weekend. I hope you guys enjoy it. There probably may or may not be a video Monday, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Just because of the long weekend, it's tough to gauge sometimes if it's worth dropping content on a holiday Monday. But if there's a lot to talk about, I will have something propping up for you guys. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, have yourselves a great and safe Labor Day weekend. Try and enjoy the last of the good weather if you're getting any near where you are, and stay safe out there. And from myself and from Mrs. Fringe here on the good old Fringe stream on Friday Night Fringe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care, everybody.